Hey everyone, it's April Kamara here. I just found like a little corner to chill in, and I wanted to do like a little extended for everyone. Here we go, sweet. For everyone who did like the choose energy reading for the week. It's a tough week this week. We have a lot going on. So I just wanted to come and like kind of share a little blessing with you guys because it just is one of those weeks, right? Like our entire world can change. And one thing that I've realized, especially about like this year, 2020, is 2020 is the year of us really getting like our passion back, really getting our sovereignty back. And part of that is like staying centered. So that's what this reading is all about. This reading is all about helping you to recenter into what it is like you're here to do, so that way we're not constantly being controlled and manipulated by the media. You know, we know that everything that's happening right now it's going to change our future forever, but we're starting to now see how important the choices that we make are. So I think that's a very positive thing too. So this is if you chose number 1. This is a little amethyst. And I wanted to do an extending because these readings were lit. Like I was like getting so much from them. Oh wait, no, this wasn't number 1. The blue one was number 1. Okay, let me rephrase that so nobody gets confused. I think it's like, I don't know. I think this is like angel aura. I don't know, but I love this crystal. I sleep by this every night. These are all the crystals that I sleep by. So that's how my energy is so good, you guys. Because life is definitely happening to me too. You guys are not the only one if you've been going through it, especially this deck. Okay. Woo. So this energy reading, the archetype is the desert, right? And you can take from it what you want, but to me the desert is all about like abundance in what seems like barren lands, right? Then you have the 2 of Swords and the Moon reversed. So defensiveness, deceit, lies. And then you have the King of Pentacles, right? Like Rico Suave vibes, like someone who's ready to like come in and like boss up your life, right? And the vibe that I was really getting from this spread right now is that whoever is like called to this, like you're looking for your divine counterpart, you know what I mean? Like you're looking for your earth equal. You're looking for that person who can match you in the physical realm. And as spiritual people, I think that's like a very important decision to make, right? It's like, you know, when you are super spiritual and you do like, you know, have that intuitive nature about you, you need someone in the physical who can really like help ground you, who can really help you, you know, take everything that you're bringing down and root it into your body. That's a big deal. So to me, the whole vibe of this is like preparation, right? Preparation. So can you move through this barren land having known that you're like healing from your defensiveness, right? Can you take the mask off? Can you look at, you know, yourself where you're at? Can you see it clearly? Yes, there have been lies. Yes, there have been deceit. Yes, things have been completely, you know, backwards. But you're here to thrive amidst this chaos. You're here to experience the abundance of going deep within, right? It's not that there's not any water in the desert. It's that in the desert you have to dig deep, right? Like it's inside of very dense plants like cactus and stuff like that, right? Some of the most like nutrient dense plants are found in the desert and sparsely, right? So you may be finding that you're having to go through long journeys of feeling like you're on your own, of feeling like there's not much here, of feeling like your abundance is missing, but that's not true. The abundance is always there, and when you find abundance, it is rich and it is resourceful and it is powerful. However, you have to heal. You know, like you have to make the conscious decision to be this like lone traveler, right? And like part of like finding your person who can match you in the physical is like healing yourself. And to me, what this is saying is that your person is there, but it just like may not be time right now, right? Like I just think for this, anyone who pulled this card or who resonated with this crystal number 1, your person is there, but you just got to trust that it's going to happen when it needs to happen. Like, he's looking away from the desert, you know, like in this spread, he's not looking towards the desert. He's looking away from the desert. He's there, right? And all these blues and greens. But right now, you're going through this, you know, like you're having to find your wealth, your abundance, your richness in barren lands. And even for some people, like some people may have pulled this, like he's saying barren, and like some people may have pulled this and may really be wanting a baby, you know, like, so if that's your reality, like know that it's coming and that it's there, but there's stuff, right? There's energies at play that are saying like it's just not time yet, right? Like in the perfect time, in the perfect energy, right? Your energy right now is like very healing. It's very much of like you going on a journey, and one that requires like diligence, right? Like you can't travel in the desert without preparation and without like focus, right? Like you're in the wilderness. And so this to me is like an energy reading of saying, hey, your divine counterpart is here. Don't worry about it, right? But the focus isn't on the divine counterpart right now. The focus for you is on the journey back to yourself, on the journey back to yourself of like who you're going to be, who you're meant to be. I don't know why I keep like hiding my face. Who you're going to be, who you're meant to be, right? The archetypes are really like long lasting, right? Like you can like take an archetype and you can just put it on your heart and you can just feel, right? It's kind of like the energy behind the message. So to me, the energy, like the forest from the trees is the archetype. And this archetype is saying, hey, right, what's hidden beneath is meant to help you. It's meant to heal you. But on the top, it's barren, right? Like you have to dig deep. You have to like bring forth something outside of yourself that you've never seen before, right? In the desert, like when you see a cactus or something like that, it's one and few and far between. There's not cacti everywhere in the desert, right? It's just not. Like, I don't know, even when you think about like to say plural cactus is to say cacti. Like that should tell you that like there's no S at the end, because like it's very odd for you to see several cactus together, right? It's not like a forest of cacti. No, it's one cacti here, one cacti there. And to me, you're going on like a self journey of like, you know, kind of like going through the barren times to really find that nourishment, to really find that like part of yourself that's meant to come forth. This hand is coming out of the sand for a reason, right? And it's facing these truths. It's facing how defensive and how like life has really created this energy of distrust within you. And then the moon reverse, like it's showing you that like you haven't seen things clearly for a little while, you know, like it's been a pattern for you, you know, like you've probably been that person. To have gone through this, you have to have like, you know, a very resilient soul, right? So you've probably been carrying these burdens for a while, and it's time to lay them down. It's time to lay them down. But you have to bring forth that energy of change from within you. And when you do, know that your divine counterpart is there, but it's just not time to focus on that right now. You know, like this process for you is like calling in your perfect divine counterpart. And I think if you were to start looking now, you would find someone who actually takes you off of your path, you know, like this person is looking away. So if you have someone in your life right now and you're like settling, or you're feeling like, you know, I want this to be the right person, but the universe keeps giving me signs, it's time to go on your self journey alone. It's time. It is. So that's group number 1. These like messages were lit. That's why I was like, oh my God, I have to do like an extended reading for this, because so good. So good. Okay. Group 2, this is my little citrine. Ooh, I love this message too. Okay. So the energy behind this is the shadow. And truth be told, like, shadow kind of scary. It's not the best energy. The shadow, like the moon reverse, is very much a whole, like, you know, what is my part in this? What am I creating in this? You know, what is the actual energy that is moving me? And do I want to continue to be moved by that energy? What is the energy that I'm putting into this situation, right? Like, that just is what it is. And so you have the Knight of Swords with the Six of Pentacles. And what this is telling me is that, like, the Knight of Swords is very much like a passionate energy. It's like going for something full force, right? But what I've been like learning from my children, honestly, is that I'm gonna hold this crystal. I feel like it's gonna help me like get the energy of it. But what I've been learning from this energy and from like raising children is that like children can get fixated on one thing and then like completely lose sight of everything else, right? And can just be like, yes, this is what I want, right? Like, example, my daughter the other day, I'm picking her up and I see like a bottle that I left out, right? You can't leave milk out. So I go and I take it to put it up and she starts wailing because she really wants this milk. She wants it so bad, and she thinks that when I pick it up that she's gonna get it. And that's not the case. Like, this milk is bad. This milk isn't gonna work for her. It's not a good idea, but she doesn't know that because she's a baby. And so all she can do is cry and all she can do is scream. And so I'm like, you know, I have to sit her down and I have to continue washing. I can't just give her the milk because if I do, she'll get sick, right? This is kind of the energy that I get from this Knight of Swords. It's like you're going for something, and the Knight of Swords is like headed for business, right? It is going to do whatever it is out to do, and that's great. That's fine, right? But it's faced away from the Six of Pentacles, and the vibe that I get is like, you know, you have this ability to share your gifts with the world. You have this ability to do something really great for yourself and really great for humanity, and underneath, like what's lying underneath this, like, you know, energy is like your shadow, right? And like this fear of financial like hardship, and this fear of like, well, if I don't get money now, how am I going to get it? You know, like, so this idea that you may be chasing, while it may like bring you income, is it going to give you impact, right? Is it going to help you share your gifts with the world? And I like to believe, and I know that no matter what our choice is, no matter even if we do choose the Knight of Swords and we go after something and we get there, no matter what our choice is, we can always redirect, right? Like, we can always share our gifts with the world and do something else at the same time, right? But the question here, and I think what the lesson here from the universe is like, but what if you did that without this fear? You know, like, what if you chose consciously to go after what you're going after? What if you took a breath? You know, like, what if you slowed down a little bit? What if instead of going after, like, you know, something external, you took this same kind of mental focus and clarity and like cognition and you went inside, you know, like you went inside yourself and you just like honored where you're at, and like you did the work to see what's coming up within you. Because to me, that's what's beautiful about this energy, is that it doesn't have to be going away from sharing your gifts, right? It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but maybe there's just like right here, he's headed towards it, head down, super focused, blinders on. I get it. I love it. Like, I'm all about that energy. But being all about that energy and knowing myself, I know that when I get to this place, to this destination, sometimes I can be like, oh man, like, was this the right decision? Like, oh man, you know, and you don't want to feel that way. And a lot of the times I could have completely avoided that feeling and insecurity if I would have just recognized that, like, oh, like, you know, made the conscious decision, like, like, is there fear here? Like, is there, like, you know, am I doing this out of fear that something's not going to happen? Am I doing this from a place of like feeling like maybe something could be going wrong and I'm not really sure, right? Like, what is my shadow trying to tell me? What is my intuition trying to tell me? And when I look at that, right, it doesn't mean that I have to veer off course. It just means that I take a breath. So that's what this energy is. 1 second. So yeah, if you chose this card, it's all about like assessing where your action and energy is coming from and doing the shadow work to make sure that you're making an aligned decision and your decision is for your highest good. So this is if you chose pyrite. Option number 3. Oh my God, I love this one so much. the vow, right? This bird is soaring amidst darkness, and one person is holding up another person's hand, holding up so many hands. To me, this is like such 11th house energy. This is such Aquarian energy. This is such like, when I think of astrology, like these are the people with planets in their 11th house. Like it is time to get to work, okay? Because the 11th house is all about other people. It's the humanitarianism, and this is very much to me a reading of humanitarianism. So we have the Magician with the Eight of Wands, and then the Vow. I'm like, how do I not block my face when I do this? The Vow. And if you want to see the Vow, it's such a gorgeous card, and it's all about like solar plexus, your identity, right? And then you have these two cards saying that like your intuition is leading you on a journey to transformation and abundance. 8 is the number of abundance. Wands is all about transformation. It's fire, it's passionate, right? Like it is time for you to step into your calling, whatever it is, and just start taking risks and just start doing something different and just start doing something for yourself, right? Because you have this 6 of Pentacles here, and this 6 of Pentacles is all about sharing your gifts. You know, it's all about like taking your centeredness and sharing it with the world. And I love how it's like inside of colors of like red and orange and gold, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're taking everything that is within you, all the spiritual energy within you, and you're grounding it and you're presenting it to the world, and you're saying here, right? Like, and I just like kind of get this energy of like, you know, like that's what this girl is doing. She's taking everything within her and she's shining it out to the world. And guess what? You knew you were going to do this before you came here, so it's time to get started. You knew that this was your path. So fear not, take the risk, let your mind and your heart help you share gifts with the world. I think that this is honestly like the humanitarianism. If you have any feelings of guilt, of, you know, fear, go back to the citrine one, and I would say do the shadow work. Do the shadow work for what it is that you have going on, and clear that out so that way you can get to this. I love that. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I love how this is like, this reading is like kind of piling onto itself in a way, because like we all are connected. We're just all in different stages of our journey. And I don't know, I think that's so beautiful. So the last one is the amethyst. I got confused the first of it. And when I read this, I was like, poor baby. I felt this on a deep level, deep level. So 5 of Cups reverse, 10 of Swords, and then the riddle coupled with the Ace of Cups. So here's the truth, you guys. 2020 hasn't been easy for anyone. And the people who have had it easy this year, I feel like probably in the preparing for this, like were very much like on their spiritual path, were like very adamant about who they were and what they stood for. And whatever doubts, whatever insecurities that we had, 2020 just went and like put it in a magnifying glass and was like, hey, you need to deal with this, right? That's just how light works. Like light brings truth to the darkness, shines light upon the darkness. And so that's what this year has been for you. If you chose this card, you've been feeling it. Like not only have you been feeling like you let go of something, but you knew whatever it is you were letting go of wasn't for you. You knew that those cups you were looking at, that emotional fulfillment, that dream that you had was merely that, a dream. It wasn't reality, and you ignored the signs. And that's okay. We all do that sometimes. But now you're in this 10 of Swords energy, and you're beating yourself up, and you're wondering what could have been, and you're letting these pervasive thoughts and honestly thought forms from other people. This card to me is like, we don't realize how powerful our thoughts are until we go after our dreams. You know what I mean? Until we go into the unknown. And then our thoughts can just completely tear us up. And look at this girl. She's in all black. She's in the unknown, right? She's trying to like meet herself in her own void. She's trying to follow her dream. She's trying to take that risk. But she's had so many thought forms about like, you know, what that means about her and like, you know, what could have been and all these like dreams, fantasies that she's been like playing out. And when she tries to cut those dreams off, when she tries to cut those thoughts off, they come and attack. Because guess what? Thoughts need our emotions to stay alive. And we don't think about our thoughts as being just as like, you know, just as like, how do I say it? Just like we fight for survival, I believe that like thought forms fight for survival too. Because a thought is only as good as the amount of energy that's put into it. And when a thought is used to getting so much energy and used to being so magnified, like in the spirit realm, I just see a thought that starts to shrink as like kind of freaking out, because it is a part of our consciousness, you know what I mean? But it's like a separate part of our consciousness and it's not as evolved, right? And so when it comes from a place of lack, you know, it needs us, it tries to latch back on, right? Call it NC, call it whatever. But at the end of the day, we created all this ourselves, you know? So these thought forms are coming and they're like stabbing her and they're like, no, don't leave us. Like, don't leave us, right? Like, we were doing so good. What happened? And that's the riddle, right? Like, that is the riddle. Is like, can you sacrifice all these old thoughts? Can you sacrifice all these old ideas? Can you look at what the universe did for you by moving you on from this Five of Cups reverse, by, you know, letting you duke it out with your own thoughts? And can you solve the riddle? Can you recognize that all this is connected, right? That it all is serving your good, but that you've got to bridge the gap. Like, that's the thing. You've got to bridge the gap. There is an Ace of Cups waiting for you. There is a new life waiting for you. There's a new beginning waiting for you. But you have to sacrifice the old thoughts. You have to sacrifice the old beliefs. You have to sacrifice this idea that what you thought was good for you wasn't. Pride. This is a reading of pride. Like, this person does not want to admit that everything that they wanted was kind of in vain. You know what I mean? They may have wanted it, but maybe they didn't want it for the right reasons. You know, and they're having to come to terms with what actually got them there. Because going back to the shadow, going back to Mr. Citrine, going back to that energy of like, hey, you know, you may be going on a journey and you may be headed right there, but if it's not from the best place, if it's not from, you know, like a positive and loving energy, you get stuck in this Ten of Swords situation. I've been there, guys. I'm a Gemini. I get it. Like, it sucks. Like, you want to use your logical mind to keep your heart from getting hurt, but guess what? It doesn't work like that. Like, we are all connected. Our heart, our soul, our emotions, our thoughts, everything is connected. So can you alchemize this? Can you learn from this? Can you sift through the vibrations that are here and like create your journey of synchronicity and continue along your path while taking what was a Five of Cups situation and a Ten of Swords situation and bridging the gap yourself? Can you choose to see that what was like honestly the hardest thing you've ever been through in your life, or what honestly, like, I kind of get like dramatic vibes, but I'm a Leo moon, so I can totally, if you're feeling dramatic, I feel you. I'm the same way. I'm super dramatic. But the thing about drama is that sometimes drama is just that, drama. And sometimes we're just so used to feeding these thoughts with emotions that we don't realize when our thoughts actually turn against us and start doing the same thing to us, right? Like, we chose these thoughts, we chose these ideas to get out of an emotion or out of an emotional truth that we didn't want to face, right? We ignored our guts. We tried to like do things that were in alignment to make other people happy, right? And like we did it because we thought that that was happiness. Elijah, 1 second. My son, I'm about to be done. And then when our thoughts go and do the same thing to us, our thoughts are like, no, but we're dying. Like, we need you, you know, like, and like kind of like stab us in the back. We like wonder like, what the heck? And guess what? Our thoughts do as we do, not as we say, right? Our thoughts are replications of us. They're just in like one dimension. They're just in the astral. But guess what? Like, if we haven't like opened our heart, and if we haven't taken these risks, and if we haven't done the work, our thoughts will like, you know, wreak havoc. Because guess what? Like, they were doing that the whole time. Like, we just thought that it was a lesser evil. So this is all about taking what really, really sucked, bridging the gap, creating your own new beginning, because it's here, because it's time, because no one else can do it the way that you do. And you literally learned from this place. You sent out rockets of desire that are so magnificent and that are so much better than this, but you have to choose to walk away. You have to choose to move on, to let go, and to start over. So with that, I'm going to say I love you. I hope that you have all of the tools that you need for this week to make it a great one. If you want to book a reading with me, message me about like my availability and everything else. I'm opening up coaching spots too. So if you want some spiritual coaching and you want to check out your astrology, you want to start using all these spiritual tools to best aid you and living your best life, hit me up, because it's time that we really start to create our own reality, especially with everything that we have going on right now. We can't wait any longer. It's our time, right? It is our motherfucking time. Especially if you chose this and you're feeling a little confused, hit me up. But all of these, honestly, all of these are great readings. All of these, like I said, they tell a story. And if you're wanting some coaching or you're wanting a reading, message me. I'll leave links to everything below. And then if you have any questions, just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram, I am April Kamara. Facebook, April Kamara. All right, later, guys.